So again, thank you very much for doing this.
Of course.
And it has been really, it's been my pleasure to actually watch you and your endeavors in college, because just to watch from afar, and I'm really excited for you to you know, what you've been doing, and I can't wait for you to share with us actually what it is that you've been doing. But first, I want to say, Anna, that you have always had that certain engagement with serving and being a part of an activity or movement or cause to work on making things better for the people around you, or just the situation around you. And you've actually had this like just, you've been active with this like conscious of making yourself better. And I recognized this a long time ago when I was your youth director, and it made you stand out quite a bit. And I've seen it like obviously stand out for you in college, but I've noticed that what happens to a lot of students, they have that same motivation, but they go off to college and sort of like bargain this approach off, you know what I mean? Or they settle for like a discount with all the stuff that goes on in school. But you seem so determined in what you do. What do you attribute this to?
I will start off by saying it is not always a good thing. I get myself into a lot of trouble with overcommitting and never having a second to breathe. So take what I say with a grain of salt. It's not always the best thing to do. But my parents, I guess I would attribute it to, have always pushed me to be involved, to make sure I'm doing something I enjoy from a young age. They didn't really care what we were doing, only that we were involved with something. It could be sports, we could get a job, whatever it was. They just said, you got to find something. You aren't going to come home after school and sit on your butt and play video games. Mm-hmm. So then I just kind of got in the habit. I did gymnastics when I was really young, and that filled up a lot of time really young. So I was always used to having a full schedule. And I just kept carrying that on, I guess.
And yeah, you know what? Your parents have done a great job, I think, with your whole family, your siblings as well.
I think so too.
Yeah, you could attribute a lot of that to your upbringing. But I feel like you've surrounded yourself with like the right atmosphere and the right people as well, you know? Because a lot of people, they can get that pressure from their parents and they can kind of go against the grain a little bit, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I think through high school and even in college, I've had a pretty small circle. I don't have like a large group of friends. I don't go out much and do those things, which it's just not really been in my personality. I don't enjoy doing that. So that's definitely helped me stay focused on other things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you went out of the gates of high school like just sprinting, because you graduated from Newsom early, right?
Yeah.
And you're in USF, and you have been getting yourself involved in specifically this one organization called Enlightened Women, right? Yes. And what is, break that down for us a little bit. What is it that they do? What drew you in? What was the whole picture that kind of motivated you to go towards that?
Yeah, so the network of Enlightened Women was founded it was founded exactly 17 years ago. And it was created as a book club, actually, is how it first began, for some conservative women on campus to come together and read some books, try to learn a little bit more. And I found it through Facebook. Last year on our campus, this is our second year being a member or a group on campus. So last year I saw a post on Facebook from the previous president that was just, hey, we have a club for conservative women, come out to our meeting if you're interested. And I was like reading the comments, and there were lots of nasty comments. People in college can be a lot harsh. They're not always kind when you have views that go against the majority.
Right.
And I had really hidden my views. I said one thing in one class, and I got like a failing grade on a paper because I said you shouldn't be able to have an abortion when you're 9 months pregnant.
Mhm.
I didn't feel like that should have been a very controversial thing, but whatever. So I didn't feel like I had anyone I could talk to about those topics with, or even just express my opinion without getting some retaliation. So finding a group of women, especially that I just felt comfortable with, and like I knew that I could say what was on my mind on whatever topic, and they would respect my opinion, even if they didn't completely agree with it. I've been met with nothing but kindness from the girls I've met there. And it makes you realize like we had like 60 people come to our first meeting, which was really incredible, because I always felt like I was completely alone on campus. I was like, I'm the only one, and that's just not true.
Right. You did you find it pretty empowering to know that yes, there's other women like me with the same views, as well as sort of like maybe they got your back a little bit more in these situations? Because I know it is an uphill battle with a lot of professors there, that if you say your opinion or your belief and it's not in line with them, then you're going to have trouble.
It absolutely is very empowering to know that I have like a group of women who share similar beliefs that I do. And when I do encounter backlash from professors or just peers who are also kind of nasty when they don't agree with you, it's nice to have a group of girls that I can go talk to about that, and they can say like, oh my goodness, like the same thing happened to me today, and you just don't feel as alone. And it has really helped me find the confidence to like not be super quiet about my beliefs. If I feel like I have something to say, I feel much more comfortable now saying it, because they've really encouraged me to like do the research, make sure my beliefs are my beliefs and not just something I heard my parents say or something I heard on the news, but really to do the research. And once you feel very confident that that is your opinion and I can back it up because of XYZ, it's a lot easier to say that opinion in an environment where it might not be welcomed.
Why do you think it's such an issue on college campuses in this culture today? I mean, it seems like we hear all about sort of the liberal thinking and that's the right way, but the conservative is the wrong way, and that's the way it is on campuses. Why is
I
that?
think my personal opinion is that a lot of that comes from just a lack of life experience. Most college students, I mean, all of the liberal views and everything, they look wonderful on paper. I think, I mean, there's a lot of like even socialists on campus, and yeah, that looks great on paper. Everybody does well, everybody works together. And I don't think that's the reality of how the world works. And so I feel like people think that people with more conservative views are so harsh and like we don't care about anybody. And that's just really not the case. We just don't believe that giving the government more power is the way to solve those issues. But it can be viewed as we don't care about other people, we're very selfish and don't believe that other people deserve our help, which just is not true. And I think the media has a big influence on it. There is, I think most people would probably agree that the media tends to lean to the left, and a lot of people, especially my age, will read the headlines. They won't even read the full article. They'll see, oh my goodness, this conservative politician said this, and they won't read the rest of it. They won't understand the context or really what was said, and just turn that into they're racist, they're sexist, you get all of the trigger words that then kind of make it, well, how do I respond now? You've just called me a racist. That's not really something that you want to discuss further.
Right.
And I've had people say that to me about things. Well, I can't discuss this any further with you because you're sexist, because you don't value women. And I was like, well, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one. I am a woman. I would have to say I'm not sexist, but it's just kind of, it puts a stopping point to conversations.
Yeah. Do you ever find yourself just in school and getting to know some of your peers in the classes or in wherever you are in activities or whatever, and you get to know them and you have this like great rapport with them, but then all of a sudden the talk of politics comes out and that like totally just puts that division line down. You're just like, wow, you're such a great person. Why do we have to like, you know, put a dividing line? Does that happen a lot?
That has happened with more friendships I have formed than not. I think
Really?
it is very sad because I have never cut off a friendship because of someone's political opinions, or I just feel like we don't have to talk about those topics if it's upsetting to you,
Right.
which is I don't think that should be a problem. But I've had a lot of people who I make some comment or something that then they kind of realize, or I post something on social media. I don't post a lot of political things on social media. I've posted maybe like 3 or 4 in the last couple of months. And every time I do, I get all the angry messages from people that I would have considered to be my good friends.
Yeah.
And then like watch the follow. I mean, I don't honestly care too much about followers anymore, but like you just watch everybody unfriend you over an opinion that they didn't want to learn more about. I do feel like I consider myself to be an open-minded person. I love to have discussions with people who have different opinions than me. How am I gonna evolve as a person or evolve in my opinions if I stay so close-minded and only listen to people that agree with me? I just find it hard to find people with differing opinions that will have just a friendly discussion about it and not turn it into a hateful discussion.
Do you ever find yourself, you mentioned that sort of stereotypical thought process I think a lot of people have, that once you're a conservative woman, then you have like the strength isn't there, the courage isn't there for you anymore. You become this like thought of sort of pedestal type woman who has no capability. Is that something Enlightened Women has kind of like empowered you with, which is that you knew that in the first place? I know that, but it's like, you know, there's like, did it give you more muscle, I guess is what I'm asking.
It definitely did. Again, having a group of women who I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one who values some of the things that are considered to be traditionally more feminine. Like I'm really excited to be a mom. And I've had a lot of more liberal friends that are like, that's you hate the environment. You shouldn't be having kids now because you're killing the environment. I'm like, I don't know how to argue with that. So it's really nice to have friends who are like, yeah, I'm excited for that too. Like I'm excited to be a wife, be a mother in the future. And some of them want to be more traditional stay-at-home moms, and that's fine. Plenty of the women I know want to work full-time, and that's good too. But I've got a lot of feedback from people with more liberal opinions that are like, well, you're just like a product of the patriarchy. That's why you want to have kids, because if you cared about the environment, I've literally had people say that, like, if you cared about the environment, you wouldn't let the patriarchy influence you and you wouldn't have kids. And I just think that's so absurd.
That is absurd.
People have said that to me.
That's crazy.
I know.
That is crazy. I don't understand how that would affect the environment, you know, if we're having our biological functions.
And like too much carbon emissions, or what. I've gotten essays sent to me about how that's not okay. It's not environmentally friendly to have children. So having a group of women who don't feel that way and don't feel like, I mean, even just getting married and having a family is a negative thing. A lot of people I've met view it as like, well, you're only doing that because the man told you so.
Right.
And I mean, that's always baffled me. I don't even really have a real argument against that because it doesn't make sense logically to me.
Yeah.
But just having a group of women that like kind of remind me, okay, you're not crazy. You're not the only one who wants this out of life.
I think it's great because it's sort of dispelling the whole stereotype of a conservative woman, because, you know, there's nothing like, I guess, major, like, I don't know, right wing. I mean, it's right wing, you know, in the sense that it's called conservative, but at the same time, you guys are just doing what women are empowered to do, you know? And
Exactly.
is that so wrong?
I absolutely do not think so. I think it's a great group. And we are a conservative group, but we aren't affiliated with any political party. We don't directly support any candidates. We're a 501c3 nonprofit.
Mhm.
We're just not political. We more discuss conservative values and beliefs rather than a ton of policy and this candidate this and this candidate that.
It's sophisticated feminism.
Yes.
I don't know. That's what it just came to
We
my head.
are actually, so I'm taking a course through the Network of Enlightened Women on the national level. It's
Mhm.
about opportunity feminism is what they've
Mhm.
called it, because
That's great.
it's really great. They've talked about how the left has kind of turned feminism into not what we would maybe want it to look like.
Right.
I mean, there's lots of people now who I feel like are kind of taking away what it means to be a woman by saying, like, some people don't want it to be called breastfeeding anymore, and they want it to be called like chest feeding to be more inclusive. And so I just feel like, yeah, I just feel like they're taking away some of the things that make women special and different from men. I don't think
Right.
it's a negative thing to acknowledge that there are differences between the genders, because I think God made us to be different and to complement each other. We weren't made to be exactly the same.
Right.
So yeah, I think I went off on a little bit of a tangent there.
That's fine. That's fine. That's what we want here. Let me ask you this. And growing up very active in the youth group, you're a youth leader in our youth group. You went on mission trips. You did amazing things with the youth group. Was that kind of helpful or influential in coming into this young adult part of your life?
It definitely was. Coming from a background, like growing up, I loved growing up in church. I loved our church. I loved especially working in the youth ministry with the little preschoolers. That was my favorite thing. It just, again, made me feel like I wasn't alone. Like I had a group of people that I felt supported me
Mhm.
and had to help support me through all of my middle school and high school career, and prepared me to go into college. And like having all of those different experiences of going on mission trips to areas that are just different from the little bubble that I live in, just really allowed me to see what else was out there and kind of gain some perspective, I think. But a lot of it really is, it just reminds you that you're not alone, because it can feel very lonely in college sometimes, especially during COVID when you sit in front of a computer all day.
Right.
Like it's not the most, has not been for me the most social experience of my life. So having different groups of people that I can go to and think of just make you feel like you're part of something.
And you have 2 more years?
Hopefully, that's the
Hopefully,
plan.
okay.
I'm major 2 years into college, and we'll see.
What is maybe your goal or idea of where you would like to see yourself and Enlightened Women by the time 2 years comes around and you're done with school?
I want to stay very involved with this group through the rest of high school. I'm the treasurer right now. Our current president is a senior, so I'm hoping and looking to maybe take that role once she graduates. But I just want the girls on campus that do have more conservative beliefs to know that we're here, to know that there is an option, even if they don't want to come and participate, like just to know you're not alone, to know that there are other women who you can come and talk to at any time. Like, we're a very open and friendly group. We accept all people that want to come. We technically can't even turn down men since we're a school organization. So technically guys could come too. They can wear our bright pink shirts and that'd be fun. But just I want people to know that we exist, and to know that there are other women on campus that share these views, and to even we aren't we don't have like the goal to go and change everyone's opinion, to go
Right.
and convert anybody to think the same way we do, because I don't think that's a realistic expectation or even a good thing to go and try to force other people to think the way you do.
Right.
But to just kind of put the other information out there, not necessarily to convince anyone, just to be like, hey, there's more out here than maybe what you've seen on CNN your whole life.
Right. It's sort of like just a lighthouse or a beacon, just shining out, saying, here we are. You're not alone.
Yeah, we're here. If you want to come to our meetings, like absolutely, we'd love to talk to you and talk to you about our beliefs, but we're not here to pressure people and change people's opinions, really.
Looking back, Anna, was there anything, I guess maybe growing up, going through high school, was there anything kind of hindering the empowerment that you feel now?
Yes, and it would be just my fear of how other people would react. I don't feel like growing up through high school and again, even in college, like I had a very large circle of friends. So I never felt like I had anyone who would support me. And any of the friends I did have had very different beliefs than me. So I felt like if I like let that be known, then they would hate me, that they would turn their back on me. And I have definitely had friends do that. One of our current president, her name's Talia, her best friend of 12 years, like completely cut her off when she found out that she identified as a conservative. Like they'd been friends since 5th grade or something.
Wow.
And she just said, nope, can't be friends with someone like you because you're racist. And she's not racist. But
Right. What would you say to a young lady, maybe the age of 13, 14, who was struggling right now with maybe going in the direction that you've gone in, but is feeling that fear, that sort of anxiety about being who she really is, or perhaps even just conveying what she feels is the right thing?
I would say you are not alone. And if you don't speak up, who's going to? If you don't voice your opinion, there's probably 5 girls sitting next to you that have a similar opinion but are feeling the same exact way and they aren't going to say it. And do you really want to be surrounded by friends and a circle who would not be friends with you just because you have a different opinion of them? That's not who you want to surround yourself with. You want to surround yourself with people of all different backgrounds and different opinions, but they should be able to respect your opinion as well. They aren't a good friend if they can't accept you for who you are.
That's great. What are you majoring in?
Accounting and finance now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's something you're pretty passionate about now, this kind of
I
late
love
in the
it.
game? Okay.
I love it. Yes.
Do you feel like maybe once you get out into that profession and in that world, that industry, you might come across even some more of this out there? Just the opposition of...
I'm sure I will. I've heard stories. I went to a conference with the new national, just chatting with some of the girls who were a little bit older and had already been in the workforce, and just hearing some of the things that people have said to them or the ways they've kind of gotten the short end of the stick because someone clearly didn't agree with their opinions. It had nothing to do with their ability to do their job. So I'd be shocked if I don't encounter any of that. But I feel like at this point, I wouldn't choose to work for a company or for an organization that can't respect my opinions. I'm not going to go into a workplace campaigning and holding like my opinions on a banner. That's not what work is for. But I just don't feel like I'd want to be somewhere where I'm not wanted because I have a different opinion than other people.
Right. And I feel like too, a lot of industries that have a dominant sort of male authority in it are going to be threatened by a female with that kind of strong value, you know?
Yeah.
My wife actually, she went to a conference a couple of weeks ago, and it was the same sort of scenario where they just wanted to empower women because I mean, there's a good old boys network wherever you go. And once they figure out, they figure out that you have that sort of that sort of conservative side to you, then they're going to probably take advantage of it. So
yeah,
you are wise there, Anna. Definitely. I got to ask you too. Do you still do powerlifting?
a little bit right now. I'm taking a little bit of a break. I had shoulder surgery, didn't go the way it should have. I'm waiting until December, and then hopefully that'll be a full year. Crossing my fingers that things are better by then.
Now, was the injury related to powerlifting?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, it was basically the end of my clavicle started to like disintegrate. It sounds kind of worse than it is. So I had a surgery where they just removed the part that was disintegrating, but it still hurts. So
do you miss it though?
I do.
There's not that sort of like, you're not going to be gun shy getting back into it with that shoulder.
We'll see.
Okay. Right.
I've been getting into other kinds of sports since then. I started taking adult gymnastics classes again.
Did you?
It's a blast.
Awesome.
Like, would totally recommend that to anybody.
Do they make it a little bit easier?
Oh, it's for like there's some like 50-year-old dads that just go there because it's fun. It's a really good group of people. You can it's fun. You do whatever you want. But there's someone to like spot you so you don't break any bones.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't need that.
And it's a lot of fun.
Is that on campus or?
No, it's over in St. Pete. It's about 30 minutes from campus, but it's so worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else have you been doing? Any other sports or just gymnastics?
Mostly that. I've been getting into some of the group fitness things, just other ways to stay active. I've gotten super into yoga. Love that. It's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Just had to find other ways to stay active and keep moving that weren't maybe as painful, because it's very specific movements that still hurt. So I can do a lot of things, but something about benching is just not happening. So,
you actually you put some records in the books, didn't you?
I did.
Have they been broken yet?
I have absolutely no idea. I haven't looked at those in a while.
But there were some pretty big records.
There was, I broke a deadlift world record for my age and weight class. That's kind of a big one.
Pretty commendable. Yeah, because I wouldn't be talking to you if I tried to do that. Just being honest. Anna, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to speak with you and to get to know what you've been doing. Really respect what you've done, and I hope other young women out there get to see this and hear what you have to say. And hopefully, if they are running around thinking to themselves they're the only ones out there, then hopefully they
I promise you're not. It feels like you are, but I promise you're not. Is
this organization on every campus, or is it just?
It's on a lot of campuses. Okay. I don't know about every campus, but we're definitely on a lot of campuses.
Can somebody go to a website or find out information? How would they go about doing that?
You can Google the network of enlightenedwomen.org. That's our national website, and all the information's there. You can start a chapter on your campus if there isn't already one.
Awesome.
Yeah, a lot of campuses have started chapters in the last year or two. So,
wonderful.
You get great funding from New National. They're awesome. Like, because the schools don't always favor you with funding, but they got you covered. It's great.
Good. And you know about that because you're the chapter's treasurer.
I am.
So yeah,
I do all of the money.
Awesome. Anna, thank you so much for doing this.